Hey, let me ask you. What do you know about the Emperor's children and Thousand Sons?
A lot, but also not much. My legion doesn't worship chaos, and I less than many others. Demons are just batteries.
Oh, great. Well, this is a series I do that I call The Best of the Worst, and this is going to be a 2-for-1 video. Now, let's talk about these two legions really quick. The Emperor's children are the 3rd legion, and they've had some shit luck getting their gene seed corrupted before finding Fulgrim the Phoenixian to give a huge portion of their legion super cancer. Once they found the dude, he replaced their corrupted gene seed with his own spank, but one of them is still screwed over by the super cancer, and replaces his own body very regularly with clones and his own genetic memory. But let's not talk about Fabius Bile. I should do a video about him actually. The Emperor's children were one of the legions on Istvan III who had their loyalist members culled, along with the Sons of Horus, the Death Guard, and the World Eaters, and apparently a Mechanicus faction called Ordo Reductor. Don't know much about them, won't get into them. The Emperor's children ended up falling to their own goal of reaching perfection, diving into Slaaneş's desires with Fulgrim's pride and self-righteousness. Their pride and desire to be perfect and belief that they were always correct and infallible led to them suddenly seeing invisible flaws in themselves and their allies and their enemies. Noise Marines covering their body and using insanely loud sound guns that combined physical noise and psychic screams as well. The weapons and the Slaaneshi corruption melting their flesh and minds, many believing that their weapons aren't dangerous, but that the targets of the cannons are simply having fun and relaxing to the music made. The Thousand Sons are the 15th Legion and are primarily a psychic force, originally falling into the not yet made category of librarians through many different ways. They kept track of history and possible futures. They tracked rites and passages and rites of ascension too. They fell to Tzeentch all because Magnus is a prideful idiot too. It's actually kind of hilarious how many legions fell because their Primarchs are proud of themselves, including the two I mentioned along with the Iron Warriors, while Horus fell because he doubted himself. Tzeentch's motives are never known, but he tricked Magnus to give up his eye, making the Red think that he had outsmarted the Changer of Ways, which he did not. The trick continued with the destruction of the Webway project that the Emperor was working on to sever the need of the warp. But with that, the Legion ran off to hide. The Emperor, like an idiot, called his attack dog Leman Russ to retrieve the scared Red. Magnus jumped into the palm of Tzeentch, which led to a whole host of problems, including the Rubric ritual. Many of the Psychers of the Thousand Sons gave up trying to train themselves and instead made deals with the Warp in order to become sorcerers. Now, someone in their legion, by the name of Azek Aramon, tried to stop the Thousand Sons' gene flaw, which was essentially to randomly turn into monsters, by doing some ritual called the Rubric of Aramon. Of course, given the meaning of the word rubric means to be a statement of purpose or function, I don't know why he thought something called a rubric would stop his men from becoming mutant monsters. The rubric kind of fixed the issue, but it also made those who were afflicted by the flaw suddenly turn to dust, and their powerful psyches animated their armor as obedient automatons. But this story isn't about the Rubric Marines or the Noise Marines. This is about a survivor and a traitor of traitors, both of which did not survive the event. Rylanor was the Emperor's Children's Ancient of Rites, one of the oldest Marines standing, entombed in a dreadnought. He often foresaw the rites of passages and ascension and various other things. He didn't fight that much, being very valuable, venerable dreadnought, though sometimes a contemptor dreadnought. He replaced someone on the Istvan 3 drop, who had a bad feeling about the event. Rylanor knew something was off about it, and found out soon when his dreadnought drop pod opened up and he saw pink armor firing against pink armor, and red and white armor firing against red and white armor. Rylanor fought tooth and nail, being backed into an underground escape bunker meant for the planet's governor, whose ship had been crushed under a falling pillar. While underground, the planet began to rock, the bunker collapsing in on itself and imprisoning him in his tomb, unable to go to sleep and allowing him to survive the virus bombs that were eating his brothers and cousins on the surface. 10,000 years he laid awake, sometimes his own legion, now mutated and corrupted, often coming to him and to try and kill him. He fought back and took his brother's weapons, not recognizing who they were. He turned their sound cannons into a beacon, a lure. 10,000 years and a ship passed by. 3 sorcerers were tasked with investigating the distress signal coming from the unknown world. Malin Vistario was one, a Covidae cult member. This cult focused on future sight, though sometimes needed to delve into the past as well. Another was Oktar, a Raptora cult member which focused on telekinetic powers of psychics and magics. The last one was Murshid, an Athenian cultist focusing on telepathy and telecommunication. These 3 were sent by Magnus the Red personally to investigate the signal coming from the planet, none aboard the ship knowing what world or system it was. The 3 went to the world, seeing it had only just restarting to develop life, as little as it was from the ruins of the ancient civilizations. They figured out it was human, but on the world the signal burst again. 3 words blasting into their minds and their electronics. The Ancient awaits. They followed the signal, the power from it getting more and more powerful the closer they got. Oktar using his telekinesis to rebuild some structures to let them through. Soon enough they found a ship, crushed under debris, and beneath it they found an ancient dreadnought bearing the Emperor's Children's mark. Through ancient vox speakers, the dreadnought spoke, aiming autocannon at the 3. He asked if they were friends or enemies, and they answered with half-truths, knowing that even crippled, a broken dreadnought of that pattern could easily slaughter them with no effort. Rylanor recognized that they weren't telling him everything, but they were not his target. He was waiting for a true monster to show up, and he did. Fulgrim slithered in with a line. For me, Ancient, you look terrible. A disgrace, even. Rylanor was horrified by his Primarch's change, but his hate filled even more so. He revealed a hidden tool that he had under his vehicle frame, an undetonated virus bomb, capable of ripping through flesh and metal alive. Fulgrim knew that it would hurt, not land him the kill, but Oktar used his telekinesis to slow down the virus bomb's explosion. Visario given the Raptora his psychic power, as Rylanor brought up his cannon and hand to fight the Primarch. Primarch disarmed him and split open the dreadnought, revealing the dying remains inside the machine. It offered him power, and in that moment, the dreadnought remembered his name and yelled out, "I am he who remembers. I am Rylanor, and I am the Ancient of Rights. And if you think your offers can sway me from ending you, monster, it shows how far you have fallen." With that immense amount of rage, the psychic power coming from the dreadnought filled Visario with memories from the dreadnought. The rise, the fall, and the betrayal. He looked at the Daemon Primarch and said his last words. "Primarch Fulgrim, Rylanor deserves better than you. He deserves better than all of us." He raised his bolter to the Raptora and fired a single shot through his friend's head. The psychic time slow ending and the virus bomb detonating across the world. One bomb destroying all life on the world. The 3,000 suns and the dreadnought, and even ate the flesh of the Daemon Primarch. When the Daemon Primarch reformed in the warp, he thought about the situation. He didn't get the kill. He didn't get the corruption. Instead, he turned back to the light of the Emperor. He failed miserably. Though his body was still intact, there was a part of his pride he still has never gotten back. And that is our 2-for-1 best of the worst for Emperor's Children and the 1,000 Suns. Now, shove off.